My name is Stephanie Groeschell, and I'm the supervisor of the Cadet program with PSA Airlines. I've been with PSA now for about 2 years, but I've got about 10 years experience within the airlines, and I consider myself an airline brat. I was raised in this industry. My uncle was a Airbus pilot for United. My aunt is a flight attendant. She's been working there for 50 years as a flight attendant. And then my mother was a gate agent as well for 36 years. So I've never purchased a plane ticket in my life. So I am not the person to ask if something's expensive or not, because it's all expensive to me. But yeah, grew up in Chicago, Illinois. Started my personal career as a flight attendant back in 2012. So is anyone here from the East Coast? Anybody? Oh, we got a couple. Very nice. Whereabouts? My airline is based in Dayton, Ohio, but we have our our training centers in Charlotte. Anybody from Charlotte? Oh, we got one from Charlotte. All right. Well, I expect to see you in new hire training sometime very soon. The elevator pitch that I have for the Cadet program is that it is a mentorship and professional development program that affords flight students the ability to interview early for a first officer position with PSA Airlines. In addition, we also offer up to $30,000 in tuition reimbursement bonuses, and we also have a guaranteed flow to American Airlines. Our program is designed to be used in conjunction with your flight schools. So we don't offer any type of primary training, anything like that. Once a student gets their private pilot's license, they're eligible to apply for the program. That's when they'll do their HR interview, which is your standard kind of personal question interview. We are very aware that most of our cadets are usually 18, 19 years old. This might be their first interview. And so we do try and go a little easy on them. We have some icebreaker questions that we like to use. One of our questions is, when driving to work, would you rather ride an elephant or a giraffe? I mean, I think I would ride an elephant, but that's just me. So once they pass that interview, the next step is the technical interview, and that happens after they get a commercial license. Now, I know some 141 programs put commercial multi first, some put commercial single first, so as long as they have a commercial license, they are eligible to take the technical interview. The technical interview itself is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much just work yourself through a flight. You start with weather planning, reading a METAR, then we'll work yourself through the flight, read an approach plate, and then there are some generic aviation questions, typically about weather, hypoxia, things like that, stuff that anybody with a commercial license should know. Now, throughout this process, they also get one of our airline pilots as a mentor, somebody that can help them prepare for these interviews and help discuss just the airlines in general with them, because becoming an airline pilot is not just a job, it is a lifestyle. It is something that you really have to want to do because it can be difficult. So that's why we want to make sure that they are prepared before they come here. So once they pass their technical interview, they are now considered a senior cadet. And this is when they become eligible for tuition reimbursement. So we pay out tuition reimbursement the first $15,000 in 3 increments. One first after the first successful interview, the second after they receive their next rating, and the third when they are within 500 hours of reaching ATP minimums. The second $15,000 then comes after they start new hire training with us. The first 10 of that $15,000 will come after they complete training, and then 5 after they've been with PSA for a year. Now, there are a lot more bonuses and a lot more money being thrown around once you get to the captain stage at an airline, but that's for another conversation at another time. So in addition to the early interview and all of this funding that we're providing, one of the most important things that I think we're providing is professional development. I've seen many resumes throughout the years of doing this that I would consider absolutely atrocious. And when I say atrocious, I mean if I look at a resume and I don't know that you're a pilot and you're applying for a pilot job, that's an atrocious resume. So that's something that we're trying to fix. Now, bigger schools like the UNDs and the Embry-Riddles, they obviously have an entire department devoted to this. But the smaller schools and the Part 61 schools don't. And that's what we're here for, teaching them how to build a professional pilot resume, as well as prepare for any interviews, because before they come to PSA, they will need to get a job flying someplace else. It's just a matter of fact. Whether that's a CFI, whether they are a 135 operation or Part 91, they're going to have to work someplace else. And we want to try and help them get there. So we often help with that. We also help with logbooks. We obviously see a large number of students at the private pilot stage, kind of sloppy logbooks. And then there are those CFIs that really enjoy writing in hot pink or lime green, because they just think it's fun. But we try and help keep their logbooks nice and neat and tidy and help them prepare for their future career, even when they get to the majors after PSA. So once a student is ready to start with PSA, there is no more interview after they've completed that senior cadet interview. We will then just put them through what we call a final review, which is a logbook review, document review. As you all know, pilots come with a lot of paperwork, and that paperwork does not end just because they started in the airline. If anything, it gets to be more. And they also do their background checks, drug tests, all the things that come with 121 carriers. Once they start, then they can start building their flight time. They'll go through training. Our training program's about 3 months. Right now it's split between Dayton, Ohio and Charlotte, North Carolina, but soon we'll be moving everything to Charlotte, North Carolina. Somebody did ask us about a little bit about where we fly. We're predominantly based on the East Coast, but we are starting to edge our way west. And what this does show, we have a Dallas base as of about a year ago. This is a lovely picture of a route map. I always love route maps because they look really pretty, but what do they actually tell you? They just tell you that you fly in a region, and flying does change every month. And this also doesn't show what we're flying out of Dallas as of recently. Let's see. So who we are. PSA Airlines is a wholly owned subsidiary of American Airlines. I'm sure out west, many of you are probably familiar with Envoy. Envoy is our sister company. We sometimes play nice. Sometimes mom and dad have to step in and tell us to behave. But for the most part, we play nice as sisters. Our purpose is to strengthen American Airlines and to create opportunities for our customers and our people. Our mission is to always deliver satisfied customers to their destination safely and on time. We're committed to growing our company where passion is shared, professional excellence is expected, and people, customers, and employees. So here is a short video really quick. Or not, maybe. Can you hit play on the computer over there? Okay, I guess we're not going to hit play. That's fine. That was just a short video from one of our former mentors who is now off at American Airlines. So let's see. We talked about the cadets. We talked about senior cadets. One thing I forgot to talk about was our cadet instructor check-in. This is when your students become CFIs. We will do a brief check-in with them. This involves a logbook review, a document review, and we will provide a checklist for them of all the things that they need to start new hire training. The reason why we do this at CFI is because we're hoping to catch anything that may have not been fulfilled. Also, a lot of students don't really know what the requirements for an ATP are, so we try and let them know about that as well. We talked about that. So some of the benefits of the program, obviously we have mentorship from experienced pilots. The pictures you're seeing here are of some of our pilots who also came through the cadet program in years past. Raising the bar for professional pilots. This is one that is particularly important to me because recently PSA has gone to a $93 an hour starting pay. And for anyone who's been in this industry a long time knows that it was not that long ago where that was an unheard of first year pay. That wasn't even in the realm. And I always say that if you want to be a $93 an hour pilot, then you need to be a $93 an hour pilot. And unfortunately, what we're seeing nowadays is a lot of people coming to the table as $20 an hour pilots, $15 an hour pilots, not necessarily what we would consider $93 an hour pilots. And to be perfectly honest, it's not that hard. It's showing up prepared, it's showing up looking the part, it's showing up with nice and neat and beautiful logbooks. I mean, I can't be the only one who's OCD that goes just like chef's kiss when I look at logbooks like this. And of course, it's having a respectful attitude. And one of the big things too that we've noticed is an uptick in check ride failures across the board. And it's from no one type of school or no one school, but across the board, a lot of students are coming in with more check ride failures than they ever have in the past. And that's something that we are trying to let them know that can negatively affect their career in the future, not just with a regional, but with a major as well. In addition to all of the other things we give, we also provide a free Log 10 Pro subscription. And this is another thing that I cannot. I used to live in Houston for a little while during Hurricane Harvey while doing pilot recruiting, and the amount of people that lost their logbooks was astounding. I have a friend of mine, he said that if his house were on fire, he'd save his logbooks instead of his wife. And when I asked why, he said because his wife has legs and his logbooks don't. So having the electronic backup that we will provide for free is absolute. Even if you don't want to use Log 10 Pro, always have an electronic backup for your logbooks. Some things that come with being employed by PSA is career advancement opportunities. In addition to being a mentor like Josh over here, we've also got pilot ambassadors. They usually deal with our more experienced pilot hiring, as well as sim instructors, chief pilots, ground instructors, union reps, and check airmen. All of those are hired internally within PSA from our pilot group. So we talked about our bonus package really quick. Let's see. And in addition, this is just some medical benefits and health benefits that come with the program, namely dental, vision, health, short and long-term disability, 401k, profit sharing, paid vacation, personal time, all the stuff that you can pretty much expect from any full-time job. And again, any other questions? Well, good. That means I did a phenomenal job both times I was up here in explaining everything, right, guys? All right, terrific.
Outstanding work. Oh, we have a question. All right.
Sorry, I ask a lot of questions.
I guess I wasn't that good. Darn.
Would PSA accept a solely from day one ab initio electronic logbook, or do you expect some amount of paper?
We will absolutely accept day one electronic logbooks. I think that's really where the future is going. Now, beyond PSA, I'll be honest, at some of our major carriers that are out there, because I'm realistic. Yes, we have a flow with American, but our pilots are going to want to fly everywhere, or want to at least try to go everywhere. And I'm realistic about that. A lot of these major airline recruiters, specifically the old school pilots that have been doing this for a long time, they like to see a paper logbook. I do think the wave in the future, though, is going all digital, because there's really no reason to carry around big, heavy logbooks if you don't have to. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Any other questions? Yes, so for anyone that didn't hear her, because I know the rain is kind of loud, she asked if we are similar to SkyWest Airlines, and the short answer is yes, we are. We are another regional operator. The best way to describe it is our airplanes say American, but our paychecks say PSA, and that's the same with SkyWest. Their airplanes say American Delta United, but their paychecks say SkyWest. The big difference between us and SkyWest is that we are a wholly owned subsidiary of American Airlines, which essentially means that American owns us, and they pay all of our bills for us, which is very nice. With that as well, that means we're not at the whim of what the carrier wants to do with us. SkyWest is not wholly owned, so if their contract with one of their airlines goes up, then they don't fly that airplane anymore. For us, we don't have those contracts. We are just going to be flying for them for forever. So yeah, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Did you say then for our flight school if we sort of fill out an application to be affiliated with PSA? I'm sorry if I missed that part.
Yes, actually, you are right, and I apologize because I didn't mention it. We do not have any partnerships with any flight schools. We are open to any flight student from any flight school throughout the country, so long as they are getting FAA licenses. Reason being, because we wanted to make sure that no matter your background, no matter where you live in the world, we want to make sure that you have the ability to become part of this program and benefit from it.
Do you offer the ability to use any of your logos or graphics on our website to attract students?
Yes, absolutely. All you got to do is ask. We'll absolutely hand those over. And we're more than happy to, because I understand it's hard out there right now for flight schools, especially to keep CFIs when you have regional airlines like mine constantly showing up and stealing your CFIs. Trust me, I've been shooed away from my fair share of flight schools before. Very nicely told to get out. So we want to help you with that regard. One of the reasons we decided not to do the partnerships is, well, to be quite frank, most of the schools wanted us to give them the money instead of the students the money. And part of the reason why we want to give the students the money is because every individual person's circumstance is different. They may need the money because they've given you all of their money and they need to pay some bills, like their electric bill. And that's perfectly fine, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help in any way we can, we're not just solely out for ourselves in this process. Anybody else have any questions? Yes, ma'am. Students can enroll once they get their private pilot's license. No, it is not too late once they're going for their CFI. In fact, the only cutoff that we really have is when you're within 300 hours of ATP minimums. So that would be 12, 950, or 7, depending on which one you're eligible for. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What would be a trigger that meant they may have to pay that back?
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I didn't hear the first part.
So once a cadet starts receiving the benefit, like you send them money, actual
Yes.
money, what would be their obligation if they left the program, or what would be a trigger that would cause you to say you got to pay it back
Sure.
for any reason?
So if they opted to leave the program before they started training with us, they would owe us any money that they've received back. If they start training with us and they've already started as an airline pilot, let's say they spend a year with us, they'll only owe us half of that $15,000, or half of that back, so $15,000. But once they hit 2 years, they don't owe us anything. In addition, one of the provisions of our contract too is if something out of anyone's control happens, if they lose their medical, they don't owe us anything. We're not going to add insult to injury for sure. Or let's say or if we for some reason can't fulfill our end of the contract, because let's say we're not running new hire classes, if God forbid there's another COVID, right? If that happens, they don't owe us anything. Any other questions? Well, terrific. Well, if you think of any questions or like to come back, we're right there in the back. I have my cohorts, Lauren Konopka and First Officer Joshua Osborne, who is also a former cadet, now turned mentor for us. We are all back there ready to answer any questions you might have. And of course, if you'd like us to come out and schedule some visits with your flight students, we'd be more than happy to. We do more than just parade ourselves around and talk about how awesome we are. We also have presentations that we do that can teach your students all about bidding and seniority within the airlines, because that is something that often becomes very confusing unless you've lived it. And anybody that's married to an airline pilot in here or is an airline pilot will understand that. And then of course our professional development presentation that we can do to help your students in the long run professionally. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And if you have any more questions, we'll be in the back.